A continent is any of several large geographical regions. Continents are generally identified by convention rather than any strict criteria. It could be a single landmass or a part of a very large landmass, as in the case of Asia or Europe. Due to this, the number of continents varies. Up to 7 or as few as 4 geographical regions are commonly regarded as continents. Most English-speaking countries recognize 7 regions as continents. In order from largest to smallest in area, these 7 regions are Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. Different variations with fewer continents merge some of these regions. Examples of this are merging North America and South America into America, Asia and Europe into Eurasia, and Africa, Asia, and Europe into Afro-Eurasia. Asia is a continent which is part of Eurasia. It is the largest continent in the world by both land area and population. Asia covers an area of 44,579,000 square kilometers, about 30% of Earth's total land area and 8.7% of Earth's total surface area. The continent, which has long been home to the majority of the human population, was the site of many of the first civilizations. Its 4.7 billion people constitute roughly 60% of the world's population, having more people than all other continents combined. In general terms, Asia is bounded on the east by the Pacific Ocean, on the south by the Indian Ocean, and on the north by the Arctic Ocean. The border of Asia with Europe is a historical and cultural construct, as there is no clear physical and geographical separation between them. It is somewhat arbitrary and has moved since its first conception in classical antiquity. The division of Eurasia into 2 continents reflects east-west cultural, linguistic, and ethnic differences, some of which vary on a spectrum rather than with a sharp dividing line. Africa is the world's second largest and second most populous continent, after Asia in both cases. At about 30.3 million square kilometers including adjacent islands, it covers 6% of Earth's total surface area and 20% of its land area. With 1.4 billion people as of 2021, it accounts for about 18% of the world's human population. Africa's population is the youngest amongst all the continents. The median age in 2012 was 19.7, when the worldwide median age was 30.4. Despite a wide range of natural resources, Africa is the least wealthy continent per capita and second least wealthy by total wealth, behind Oceania. Scholars have attributed this to different factors including geography, climate, tribalism, colonialism, the Cold War, neocolonialism, lack of democracy, and corruption. Despite this low concentration of wealth, recent economic expansion and the large and young population make Africa an important economic market in the broader global context. The continent is surrounded by the Mediterranean Sea to the north, the Isthmus of Suez and the Red Sea to the northeast, the Indian Ocean to the southeast and the Atlantic Ocean to the west. The continent includes Madagascar and various archipelagos. North America is a continent in the northern hemisphere and almost entirely within the western hemisphere. It is bordered to the north by the Arctic Ocean, to the east by the Atlantic Ocean, to the southeast by South America and the Caribbean Sea, and to the west and south by the Pacific Ocean. Because it is on the North American tectonic plate, Greenland is included as a part of North America geographically. North America covers an area of about 24,709,000 square kilometers, about 16.5% of Earth's land area and about 4.8% of its total surface. North America is the 3rd largest continent by area, following Asia and Africa, and the 4th by population after Asia, Africa, and Europe. In 2013, its population was estimated at nearly 579 million people in 23 independent states, or about 7.5% of the world's population. The first recorded Europeans to visit North America were the Norse around 1000 AD. Christopher Columbus's arrival in 1492 sparked a transatlantic exchange which included migrations of European settlers during the Age of Discovery and the early modern period. South America has an area of 17,840,000 square kilometers. South America is bordered on the west by the Pacific Ocean and on the north and east by the Atlantic Ocean. Its population as of 2021 has been estimated at more than 434 million. South America ranks 4th in area and 5th in population. Brazil is by far the most populous South American country, with more than half of the continent's population, followed by Colombia, Argentina, Venezuela, and Peru. The continent's cultural and ethnic outlook has its origin with the interaction of indigenous peoples with European conquerors and immigrants and, more locally, with African slaves. Given a long history of colonialism, the overwhelming majority of South Americans speak Spanish or Portuguese, and societies and states are rich in Western traditions. Relative to Europe, Asia, and Africa, 20th century South America has been a peaceful continent with few wars. Antarctica is Earth's southernmost and least populated continent. Situated almost entirely south of the Antarctic Circle and surrounded by the Southern Ocean, it contains the geographic South Pole. Antarctica is the 5th largest continent, being about 40% larger than Europe, and has an area of 14,200,000 square kilometers. Most of Antarctica is covered by the Antarctic ice sheet, with an average thickness of 1.9 kilometers. Antarctica is, on average, the coldest, driest, and windiest of the continents, and it has the highest average elevation. It is mainly a polar desert, with annual precipitation of over 200 millimeters along the coast and far less inland. About 70% of the world's freshwater reserves are frozen in Antarctica, which, if melted, would raise global sea levels by almost 60 meters. Antarctica holds the record for the lowest measured temperature on Earth, -89.2 degrees Celsius. The coastal regions can reach temperatures over 10 degrees Celsius in summer. Native species of animals include mites, nematodes, penguins, seals, and tardigrades. Where vegetation occurs, it is mostly in the form of lichen or moss. Europe is a continent which is part of Eurasia and is located entirely in the northern hemisphere and mostly in the eastern hemisphere. Europe is commonly considered to be separated from Asia by the watershed of the Ural Mountains, the Ural River, the Caspian Sea, the Greater Caucasus, the Black Sea, and the waterways of the Turkish Straits. Europe covers about 10.18 million square kilometers, or 2% of Earth's surface, or 6.8% of land area. Europe had a total population of about 745 million, about 10% of the world population, in 2021. Politically, Europe is divided into about 50 sovereign states, of which Russia is the largest and most populous, spanning 39% of the continent and comprising 15% of its population. But the largest country in Europe in terms of area, which is completely within its borders, is Ukraine, 603.7 thousand square kilometers. The smallest is the Vatican, 0.44 square kilometers. Since the Age of Discovery, started by Spain and Portugal, Europe played a predominant role in global affairs. Between the 16th and 20th centuries, European powers colonized at various times the Americas, almost all of Africa and Oceania, and the majority of Asia. The continent of Australia, sometimes known in technical contexts by the name Sahol. The continent includes mainland Australia, Tasmania, the island of New Guinea, the Aru Islands, the Ashmore and Cartier Islands, most of the Coral Sea Islands, and some other nearby islands. With a total land area of 8.56 million square kilometers, the Australian continent is the smallest, lowest, flattest, and second driest continent, after Antarctica, on Earth. As the country of Australia is mostly on a single landmass, and comprises most of the continent, it is sometimes informally referred to as an island continent, surrounded by oceans. During the past 18,000 to 10,000 years, rising sea levels overflowed the lowlands and separated the continent into today's low-lying arid to semi-arid mainland and the two mountainous islands of New Guinea and Tasmania.